Okay, so even though I'm the IT Volunteer of the Year 2015, my background is as a musician, and a musician and a music teacher, and this is how I actually came to volunteer at Seashell Trust. Now, Seashell Trust is a school for children with some of the most complex needs in the country, and this might be a mixture of visual impairments, hearing impairments, autism, and because of all these difficulties, it can be a real challenge for these children to communicate. They've got very little to no spoken language, but it also causes a range of difficulties in terms of touching things, and some of them can actually get very anxious when they are asked to take part in an activity. So if it's a directed activity, that can be actually too scary for them. So they actually end up in a very restricted day-to-day range of things that they do. Okay, so how did this all come about? What is all this stuff on the stage? Why is there spaghetti? Well, I'm going to come to that. As a musician, when I actually arrived at Seashell, I was amazed by how these children responded to music. It was fantastic. But what I noticed was that a lot of the music was passive, that we were playing music to them, but actually because of these difficulties, they weren't really able to interact. And so I really wanted to do something about this. And so I dusted out of the cupboard this thing here, which is a Skoog. And I programmed it so it was a lot easier for this one chap to interact with it. And you see it makes all this wobbly noise. And it might not seem like a big thing, but for him, this was the first time he could make his own music. This young chap had 3 signs. So to communicate, he had 3 signs. One was for food, one was for drink. The other was for music. That's how he signs for music. So it was a massive thing for this child to actually be able to create music for himself. Over the course of a few months, we found that he actually started developing his own sign for Skoog, which he now uses for switches. So this really inspired me. If something already exists I can customize, can actually help these children to be more confident with what they're doing, is there anything else I can do? Now, as I say, I'm a musician, I'm a music teacher. I had no real background in technology. I was really interested in technology, but no particular experience. But I started tinkering around. I started tinkering with a little bit of Arduinos, little microcontrollers, and I heard about a touch board, which actually allows you to touch various things and make music. So I started tinkering around. And so let me tell you about one particular young gentleman. Because of the difficulties he faces, he is what they call demand avoidant. He finds it very difficult to take part in structured activities. Because of all these difficulties, and he really doesn't like to touch things as well. He's on a very restricted diet. He has milk, and his day-to-day life, by and large, revolves around Mr. Tumble videos. So he watches lots of Mr. Tumble videos. He loves Mr. Tumble. Absolutely fantastic. So, along with a team of therapists and teachers, I was thinking, well, is there anything I can do? Can we actually help this young gentleman interact? So we have some bowls in front of us, and Anna, if you'd like to do the honours. Ooh, wait for it. There. Hang on. Okay. Is that just your cue? Would you like to dunk your hands in one of these bowls?
I think somebody promised me earlier I wouldn't have to.
You wouldn't have to do this. Oh, sorry about that.
Can I go for the custard?
You can go for the custard.
I didn't actually wonder if it was going to get thrown at me, but there we go. Oh my God, that's weird.
And if you try the water, this was his favourite song. You can, it's fine. You can eat that. That's Mr. Tumbles. That is his favourite song.
I know, well.
That one also does something different, yes.
Okay.
This is another student's favourite song.
That's genius.
So it's a very simple idea. It says, but when we tried it with a student, he dunked his hands in a bowl of water and he was looking at his hands in absolute amazement and was actually repeatedly dunking it back in. And what was fantastic is he then started, just as I think actually Anna licked her finger, you start licking your fingers, which we're hoping it's a long process, but will help him actually really open up his diet. So as well as giving him other activities to engage in, he may actually, if we put milk, custard, some other things out there, if it gets him his favourite song, Mr. Tumble, encourage him to actually explore new textures and choose to do these things for himself. In this case, that is key, that actually something is out there and he is choosing to do it rather than there being a teacher involved, a learning support assistant involved saying, come on, this is what you need to do. So really excited about that. Now, this works well for demos, as you can see. It looks nice and visual, but wasn't very waterproof. So I set about actually trying to make it a little bit more durable, and I was on no budget at all. So I thought, Tupperware, Tesco's, went along to Tesco's, got a lot of these little tubs here, which you can actually see is what's being used by these students. And you may not be able to hear that, I don't know. But what this does is actually activates the sound when you touch it, or you put your ear to it, or you put your face to it. Now, the beauty of this is actually for the students in our music sessions that have got very limited mobility, they can actually create their own music. They can get that cause and effect, and they can feel the vibrations. And what this gives you is just that response. So what's fantastic with the students at Seashell is that all of them can interact with this, because even if they've got limited hearing, they can really feel the vibration. And as you can see, I didn't expect it, because where I'm going with this is this here, which is the mini music bowl. So that's where I was going. And all the technology is in there. So it's all wrapped up until we can actually move it around. But this was the middle stage, which was a little bit of an accident, to be perfectly honest, but the students absolutely loved it. With our gamelan sessions, we've got a fantastic orchestra, sort of percussion instruments, Indonesian percussion instruments. I've actually recorded some of the expert musicians that come in and play that, so they've actually got it within a tub, and they can have it to their ear, they can activate it themselves. As I say, the students that have got limited hearing actually just really love the vibration, and they will sit there with a session, and some of them will be like that. So it's fantastic. And for Seashell, it's because it's simple. It is simple, it's easy, they can carry them around. As they go, it's fairly durable. It's been thrown across the room a few times, it survived. So that's where I was going with that. Finish off, I'd just like to actually show you a video, or a video sequence. This isn't the musical bowls, or the tubs. This is just an upturned metal bowl. That's all that is. And this is the gentleman that I was talking about with the skoog. And whilst he really loved this interaction, he loved the fact he got the cause and effect, and he could make his own music, his favourite song is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Absolutely loves it, but because he got limited, he was quite sensitive to touch, he had no way of actually being able to play Twinkle, Twinkle, or to specifically request that somebody else is singing it for him. What I'd like to show you is within the sequence is how actually when he realises what that song is and the fact that he's got control over it, how that really motivates him. So let's go through this. This is the first time he's seeing this form. The first thing, so he's thinking about it, so he's quite apprehensive, but he is actually touching the bowl and engaging in it, which for him, as you can see, that's his speech therapist's face, you can see it's actually a really good outcome, even at this stage. Okay, so this is still within the same session, a little bit later, and you'll notice there's fantastic turn-taking between him and his speech therapist. And actually the fact he's vocalising a little bit here is fantastic. He's actually vocalising more.
Oh, twinkle, twinkle.
However, when we start to sing, you'll see he really likes the idea, the fact he's got control. For once in his life, he's got control over his environment. He is controlling us.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
And you see his personality comes out, it's fantastic. And in this next one, he's really got a string now. Have a listen to this.
You are twinkle, twinkle, little star.
So I hope that sums up a little bit. Thank you. A little bit about the work that we do at Seashell, how motivating music is, how it encourages them to go beyond what they would achieve in other areas, and how there's, by experimentation, by adaptation, there's real scope to make a difference to these children's lives. I'm really lucky that as part, I think moving on from this Tech4Good Award, I was then appointed as the musician in residence at Seashell, so I'm in a fortunate position that I can actually work 2 days a week with these students as a musician and developing this sort of technology. But even more, I'm incredibly lucky that I've been able to, I've been awarded a grant by the Arts Council England and Innovate UK at Mad Lab in Manchester to actually help develop this sort of technology with students, as we've seen here. I'm also going to be developing musical zips. I've got a prototype like that. I've got a video on my pen stick, so everyone wants to see it. And just really using music to motivate these students. Thank you very much.